have no idea where this one's going.
Me neither.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit more of a free-for-all.
Yeah. Well, let's see what happens.
This might not work. This one might not work.
Welcome to This Week in Fastpitch, the podcast that keeps you up to date on the latest news, insights, and analysis from the world of fast-pitch softball. Powered by 643, we bring you the stories behind the scores, the personalities behind the players, and the strategies behind the game. Whether you're a fan, a coach, or a player, we've got you covered with expert analysis and insider information. So sit back, relax, and get ready for a deep dive into the world of fast-pitch softball. This is This Week in Fastpitch, powered by 643, with your hosts, Jimmy Thomas and Kevin Bednowski.
All right. Here we go. Episode 2. We are getting underway with my very lengthy co-host, Jimmy Thomas. Welcome.
Hey, Coach. How are you?
Excellent. And of course, the man behind the scenes, Mr. Matt Cook, founder of 643, our executive producer.
Good morning.
All right.
On the fictitious glass.
The man in the chair. Okay. So today's episode, we're going to take a little bit of a different tact with it a little bit from a organization perspective. What we're going to do is first, we want to start highlighting some local players. So, we got a lot of kids that come through the doors here at 643, and we want to make sure that they're the lifeblood of what we've got going on, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we want to highlight some of those, and we're going to caveat a little bit, and we're going to use some of the Max Prep stats. So you coaches out there, get your accounts linked onto Max Preps so we can see complete data, right? So I know, Coach, you're kind of in the midst of that too, right?
Yeah, I got about half my season plugged into Max Preps right now, and I'm trying to figure out the rest of it, but still a cool tool like Game Changer, and it's always cool to see local athletes' names.
Is this
publicly.
like the go-to stats site for us? Is this Max Preps the Bible?
It is, because that's where VHSL is it's a partnership with VHSL, and that's where they're going to gather a lot of their information. Now, with regard to the record books, they're not looking at Max Preps to get the record books. You have to submit information to VHSL in order to get in the VHSL record book.
Okay, but this data is being pulled from Game Changer and other products like Game Changer.
Correct. So Game Changer exclusively, or you enter it in hard copy yourself. Like you actually fat finger it in. This is a national program, system. State by state. So you can filter tons of information about offensive, defensive, pitching stats, base running stats, based on a link to Game Changer, which I think you're in the midst of doing.
Right.
And I've done it with our team. And you set your roster, you click, literally, it's as simple as sort of clicking, you have access to Game Changer, you link your two accounts, and boom, every night it just populates based on that, based on your team. It's not really kind of, I don't think, checking between.
No, it doesn't jive with whoever you're playing.
Your
I think
opponent.
It kind of sticks with what you plug into Game Changer.
Yeah, exactly. So again, grain of salt, because our previous topic was on Game Changer. So, this is data that being entered in via Game Changer into Max Preps. But we wanted to highlight a couple of kids. I mean, Matt's got the board up behind us here with some of the data, and it's really cool. You kind of look through you look through this list and the top 50 batting averages.
Right, but it's important to note that not everybody's in there. In my particular district, I think 3 of the 9 teams are in there.
Yeah.
So it's not
complete.
Right.
Yeah, it's not complete. But, you start looking through this and you start seeing kids, the number 4 hitter, according to Max Preps and Game Changer, is Gabby Garrison, who's a member here. She goes to private school out in Purcellville.
Awesome kid.
What a great kid and a great family, right?
But for someone like her, that's awesome to be able to log in and be able to see your name in the lights, at the leaderboard. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's really neat.
This is across Virginia again, so this is kind of a wide spread here.
Yeah.
It also crosses all different associations, VHL, right, or VHSL, and then the homeschool and the private school league. So it kind of merges all of those into one spot, so you can kind of compare to.
Yeah, exactly. And Gabby plays in one of the private schools, and then you got public school. Ava Abramovich is in there. She's the number 6 batting
Manassas
average
member. Yeah,
another Manassas member there. So I mean, it's really, really cool. You start seeing some of these kids doing really awesome stuff on the field.
Well, the thing that shocked me as a first-year high school coach is I had no idea the power that these young ladies have. I mean, 10, 12, 14 home runs, that's insane for a 20-game high school season. And not only are these balls going out, they're going way out.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to move the fences back, in my opinion. But to see these girls pumping the ball out of the ballpark like they are is a pretty amazing thing to watch.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I don't know if what do you got? You got home runs up there right now.
Home runs, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you look through this number. You got Charlotte Moore at 14, and Katie Coots at 13, and Emily Collins at 10.
Gillespie's in there.
Abby Gillespie at 9, Kaylee at 8.
And the cool thing is we know what kind of competition these young ladies are playing, right? There's some really good ball around here in Loudoun County, so that's not 18 bombs against, that's not 18 bombs in house league. That's facing some pretty legit pitching. So those are impressive.
Yeah,
numbers.
and the consistency of it. I mean, it's the kids all across the board at different schools, different counties. I mean, you got Loudoun County. Then you've got at least in our area, you got the 4A group, the 5A group,
right.
the 6A group. So size of school doesn't really matter as well. These kids are doing great things.
Another thing I think is cool is a lot of those familiar names. I mean, we're always in here in 643, and we see the athletes coming in and out, and we have our commit wall, and we see their names up on the wall. But a lot of these girls are coming in, and I know who they were. But now that I'm referencing the stats, I'm like, damn, I didn't know that kid could play like that. I didn't know she was that good.
She can hit,
you
right?
know.
She
so
can
that's
hit.
kind of cool to see them coming in and out of here and having the success that they're having on the field.
Yeah, it's really fun for them.
Yeah, and I mean, we recognize a lot of these names. There's probably 15 kids, maybe in the top 50 in home runs, maybe more, that are kids coming in and out of 643.
Jackie Yeager,
Yeah.
Marissa Skinner.
Marissa
I mean,
Skinner's in
these
here, yeah.
these kids, they're in here all the time, and I think we talked about that a little bit before. In previous episodes is just these kids' commitment to the game,
Right.
and commitment to their development. Really, really cool stuff, and that's really the platform that we're hoping to provide here at 643, not just here in Northern Virginia. Of course, we have our location in Wake Forest, and we're going to continue to expand this footprint throughout the country through some franchising efforts and through some expansion efforts. So we're really excited that this product and our services can get to the masses.
Yeah, and we've talked about it before, right? This type of stuff doesn't happen by accident, right? Lindsey Mullins in here at
great point.
10 o'clock at night. Lily Wools is in here at 5 o'clock in the morning.
She hit a bomb last night, right?
Yes, she certainly did.
Yeah.
And like I said, those things don't happen by accident. They come by putting in the work and it's showing, man.
Does Riverside score any runs?
No.
Because it doesn't look like it when I look at these stats.
No, we do not score runs. Maybe a 210 on the season so far through 21 games.
Are there
we
team
average about
stats
10
on there?
No, but in the top 6, Riverside has 2 kids that are leading in RBI. So.
I was going to say, I would be willing to bet you probably lead the state in home runs.
Probably. I think we hit 35 and 36 or 34 and 35 last night. So, yeah, I mean, was
that more than last year?
We hit 30 last year. So we have by 20% eclipsed.
Well, I know
that.
you thought that was going to be tough to beat. So
Yeah.
congrats.
But thanks. We're excited. The girls, again, to Coach Thomas's point, I mean, these girls work really, really hard.
Yeah.
Well, the ball that Charlotte Moore hit against me a month ago just went by. So
Yeah, right. So
just flew by the building.
yeah, right. Well, yeah, exactly.
Well, what did I hear Bish say this morning? Coaches win games, players lose them.
Yeah, exactly. So fun stuff. But each week we want to try to highlight some of these kids. Might be same names, might be names you hear over and over again.
Yeah.
But the bottom line is it's because these kids are putting in the work and they're really, really good.
Well, let's jump over to the pitching. I'd be interested to see.
Yeah, pop up some pitching. I'm sure you're going to see Lindsay.
Yeah, let me guess who's at
how many
the top.
how many strikeouts she's got. I mean,
All right, so we'll start with strikeouts.
Yeah, sure. Pop
Yeah.
it in.
All right, let's see.
Katie's.
On the fly. Yeah, you got Katie Coots in there.
Yeah, Katie Coots. She's 237 strikeouts.
Yeah, Mullins in there at 11.
Lindsay.
58.
I mean, these kids are just crushing it.
Yeah.
Absolutely
The
crushing
crazy
it.
thing
Gillespie's
about
in there,
Lindsay,
top
too,
20.
is they have Lily Will. I mean, they're sharing
Right.
a majority of the innings, and she's still putting up the numbers that she's putting up.
both of them in the top 25, right?
That's just wild.
So really cool stuff. And like I said, each episode, we're going to try to highlight some kids that are our members here just because they're doing really cool stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be proud of themselves, man. I mean, some of the numbers these kids are putting up, it's going to be exciting running into the playoff season to see if these girls can kind of, keep that ball rolling and ride the wave into the postseason. So
Yeah, and that's where we are right now. Postseason has started a little bit for the 5A group, the 6A group. I know in 4A you start next week.
We start on Monday.
Yeah.
Yep.
So good luck to you and good luck to everybody out there. Keep everybody safe and keep gripping it and ripping it. So that'd be fun.
Yeah, and we're in the midst of some of the other playoffs. There's been some great games,
Yeah.
Back to the game changer discussion that we've had. I've had a good time scouring game changer the last couple of days, watching scores and seeing who's doing what. So
Yeah.
When's the next one, Kevin?
We play Friday at Woodgrove.
Big one.
So big district championship there. And then the regionals for us in 5A will start next Thursday.
You've played them twice this year.
Unfortunately, we have, yes.
And the outcome, not so much in your favor.
Well, put it this way. We've only lost 3 games and 2 of them to them.
Oh.
So
No better time to turn it around.
that's right. Don't they always say that it's tough to beat somebody 3 times in a row?
I was just getting ready to say that.
Isn't that the rule? So I'm hoping that that's the case.
Yeah. Orioles almost took 3 from the Pirates last week, but it is tough.
It is tough.
Yeah.
All right.
They did not.
Cool. So topic for today. There are just so many quirky, different rules associated with the game of softball than what we traditionally looked at when we were playing baseball, like growing up and
Right.
through high school and college and all that kind of stuff.
I feel completely comfortable with the DH, and I feel completely uncomfortable with the DP flex. And I am a head high school coach right now.
So why don't we use that one as a kickoff and we'll kind of start talking about DP flex.
All right.
DP flex, I don't think very many people really understand what it is, let alone how you use it.
Definitely not.
Right? So let's talk a little bit about what it is. The DP flex is designed really to get 10 kids in the game at one time. That's really basically the design of why it is what it is. So
Well, and to beef up your offense and or your defense, right?
correct.
Yeah.
Correct. We have pitchers that do hit, and we have like Lindsay or
Right.
Lily.
But explain to me why it's not a DH.
Sure. Flex, by definition of flex, can be any player. When you DH, it's a designated hitter. You are only solely hitting for, like in Major League Baseball's case, the pitcher, unless you're Shohei Ohtani. Okay? So in softball, when you have the DP, it is a designated player. We look at it and think of it as if they are a DH because they are hitting, but they can also play the field. They're not solely a hitter. They can take the field defensively for anyone, but the batting order never changes. Okay, really important to understand that the batting order will never, never, ever change unless you make a substitution. Now, that flex player, most of the time is the pitcher, right? Just on sort of more than average. In our case, it is the pitcher. But she can also go to another defensive position. It's sort of, what we talk about in travel softball terms as your free defensive substitution, if you will, with that one particular player.
Free defensive substitution. Did you hear that, Jimmy?
Yes.
Yeah, you know that rule,
Yes.
right?
Well, yeah, there was a little confusion there maybe for you one
listen,
time.
it's a little gray, right? I mean, I'm going to go as far as the umpire is going to let me, right? And when I take him my substitution for DP flex or whatever it is, I expect him to tell me if I'm wrong.
Right.
All right. Now, when I got parents coming out of the stand saying, you have completely jacked up your DP flex, your lineup is a disaster right now, and the umpire saying, keep running them out there, what the hell am I supposed to do? I don't know the rule to a T.
I mean, but part of the problem is that I don't think many of the umpires actually know what the rule is either, even though we go through this training every single season about what it is, how to do it.
But here's my question, right? I'm 2 innings into screwing up the DP flex. And all of a sudden the assistant coach on the other side comes over and says, what in the world are you doing? And I say, umpire said I could do it. Where are we at now? What the hell's going to happen if he makes an issue of it and wants somebody? Because I'm getting tossed. Like, you come out here and tell me that I screwed my lineup up and you are taking the kid out of the game or throwing me out or something. It was your fault. You're the umpire.
Yeah, I probably would. If you and I were playing against each other and you did that, I'd probably come on over and say, "Hey, coach,
Well, this year it probably would have been like 15-1, so you probably wouldn't have.
But we're
Yeah, you messed that up, Jimmy.
Jimmy, you need to.
Yeah, I got it.
This
But 2 innings into it, and girls are all over the place, and I have clearly screwed it up.
Hard to come back from.
Yeah.
Tough to come back from.
Right.
Well, listen, Jimmy, I don't fault you. Look, we're looking at a sheet here that describes the rules. This is just the DP flags.
Right.
It's an entire sheet of paper that has to explain one simple, or what should be simple, rule. So it is not easy. I never understood it and still don't.
And is that the idea of it, simply just to get more athletes on the field, more players on the field?
And give you flexibility as a coach to say to mix and match some things. Again, right? Hey, this is a strong offensive player. I'll give you a great example. Right now in my lineup, I use the DP, and it's a kid that's got a little bit of a bum wing, so she can't throw, but she can hit. So we're using her as the DP to hit, and she's not playing the field. Now, under this rule, she could play the field, though.
So she's a DH right now.
Right now, she's a DH. Now, I will tell you this. When I make a pitching, our flex is the pitcher. When I make a pitching change, I could drop the flex and substitute for the DP and put in a defensive player and switch my pitcher. So therefore, I went from 10 on the card to 9 on the card. Have I confused you yet?
A little bit. I just keep thinking about the umpire should save me.
No, there's no lifeline really for the umpire, because even if the umpire screwed up, I'd still probably come over and say, Jimmy, you got.
I hear you. But if there are any repercussions from the umpire, I am blaming him, and
probably something's going to happen. Now, here's the thing. If I wanted to quote unquote challenge you on putting in an improper substitution, I have to do it at that time, just like as if I were going to appeal any other call. If you did it and then the normal course of the game continued on, I've probably lost my window to sort of challenge that.
That's true. Because I do keep thinking about, what if we did make a comeback, a miraculous comeback, and then all of a sudden the opposing coach said,
"Oops,
hey, you blew this the whole for the last 3 innings."
Right.
But whatever.
So, but it is confusing. I would encourage people to really understand it, because as a coach, you can use it to your advantage. It is a great tool to go out there and manipulate and rotate your lineup, get more kids in the game, mix and match certain things, and have the ability to have that free defensive sort of substitution, if you will, and then get the most out of your lineup.
Now, do you think this is the reason when you go to travel tournaments that they're just like, free subs, do whatever you want?
No,
because people don't understand this clearly?
Well, I don't know. They probably do it because they know people are paying to come to their tournament, and will say, we'll try to get in as many people as you can.
Yeah.
Right? It's you're working under an hour and 15-minute time limit anyway.
Right.
So screw it. Do whatever you want. You want to bat your whole lineup? You want a free substitution? Do it all within an hour and 15 or an hour and 20 minutes. We don't care what you do.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And the DP flex, is this the same for like all sanctions, all different organizations? I feel like there maybe NSA or something has like what did they call that? The twins.
Well, yeah, when you pair people up, yeah, that's a little different. And again, this is for competitive, sort of your high school, college, where don't forget, anytime you go to a travel tournament, they're always going to have local rules. Yeah. And those local rules are going to supersede any of this kind of stuff.
Does the NCAA use DP flex?
Yeah.
If the flex runs for the DP, is that a sub?
No.
This is Sean joining in here.
We got audience members chiming in. No, if the DP flex can run, the flex can run for the DP, yes. And that does not remove them from the game.
I know this is a tough one for all of the official game changer scorers out there. What happens and how does it work when you substitute in these situations? If you substitute for a DP or a flex, I know that there's a circumstance, and I don't know what it is, where you remove the flex or you remove the DP or something along those lines. I mean, how does substitution work relative to DP flex?
So first off, the reentry rule still applies to all positions, including the DP and the flex. Okay, so I can re-enter that flex position kid if I substitute her out. Okay, pitching change or defensive change, I could re-enter her. That's number one. you substitute. You only drop the flex when the flex comes completely out of the game. Okay? If I were dropping the flex,
Right.
now the DP is going to go into the field, either in that flex position or somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, I'm done with the flex.
Right.
Then I go from 10 to 9.
Right.
Then I go from 10 to 9.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
Makes sense.
If I substitute for the DP, that's just like, I'm getting somebody a pinch hit. I can re-enter that DP as well later on.
Or continue to use
Or
that
continue
new
to
player
use
as
that
the
new
DP.
as the new DP. Okay. Little convoluted.
Yeah, I still have no idea what we're talking about.
That's all right. Hey, by the
Carry
way,
this around with you, Jimmy.
yeah, right.
Put a simplified sheet that I don't understand.
It's not very simple. Simplified. That's not very simple. Hey, I'm looking at you, and I'm noticing right by your left ear you have stitches.
Yeah.
That resemble very much like a softball.
Of course,
Tell us
last
a little
regular season game, I take a shot to the face in the cage last night on senior night. It made me take a knee. It was the first time I've been woozy in a while.
Our lengthy co-host took a knee. That's a long way down. It's a long way down.
The seams are clear though. They look good, and some of the girls suggested maybe I should have them tattooed onto my face like Mike Tyson.
Would not be a bad look.
All right. So we've killed everybody with the DP flex. It is not simple, even though they try to make it simple. Lot of sort of hairy stuff, and leaving it up to the umpire probably isn't the answer either.
Probably not the best, but that's my best option at this point.
Okay. So a couple other topics. The one that I think everybody understands but it is so it's so judgy.
Yeah.
Right? We're leaving this interpretation wide open, is the difference between obstruction and interference.
And this is the one the player struggles with, right? The coaches struggle with the DP flex. I feel like we understand the obstruction and interference rules, but it's the players that often.
Yeah, if you're on the base paths, or if you're that first baseman, right? That's there's a single to left. You come back. You think there's going to be a back pick. You come back to the bag, and she plows you over. What is it?
Yeah.
Right. What happens? You start seeing the umpires. They put their arm out, or they don't, and you're like, man, what's going on here? So
and the hesitation defensively, that you constantly see the hesitation because they don't feel like they have the right of way to the ball.
Yeah, where do you see this a lot? Like making a double play at second base, right? The second baseman, there's like this medium. Not a hot shot, not a slow rotor, that medium ground ball to the second baseman. She's coming into the baseline to field, and then the runner comes through, and then there's sort of this dodging or collision. What do we call? So first, let's sort of define what is obstruction, what is interference. Who's if it's offensively based?
I was going to say, are they different?
They are.
They're very different.
I have a lot to
Interference
learn.
is on the runners.
Interference
Obstruction is on the defender.
Correct.
So if a runner impedes you from fielding a ball, it is interference.
Correct.
If a player who's not making a play on the ball impedes the runner, then it's obstruction.
Obstruction.
And this is the one that frustrates the heck out of me, because oftentimes people think there needs to be a collision. There needs to be contact. And it's not true. And
Not the case.
That's not how it's any kind of intention or even unintentional.
Impeding, yeah.
If you impede in any way, shape, or form, and again, this goes back to your point, it's a judgment call, right? If there's no contact, then it's clearly a judgment. If there's contact, that's a lot easier.
Right.
But if there's no contact, it becomes a judgment call. But if they impede the defender's ability to make a play on the ball, it should be qualified as interference.
Right. Yeah. Right. The crazy one on the obstruction is, a scenario where kids on second base stealing third, and the throw takes the third baseman
Right.
into the line, right? Into the path to some degree. What do you call?
Yeah. Well, again, it's a judgment call, but the defender has a right to the ball.
Defender has a right to the
there's
ball.
Incidental contact.
Right. I've seen it where they have called obstruction on the third baseman. And I'm like, and I go to the umpire and I say, well, what do you want her to do? Just let the ball fly into left field? And he's like, yeah. Like, no, her instinct, rightly so, athletically, is to go get that ball and swipe the tag back if she can. He's like, no, I'm going to call that every single time. I'm like, well, you're wrong.
I would agree.
Well, it does get tough too when like there's a bouncing ball, runner like jumps the ball. It kind of happens simultaneously. There's no contact between the players, but they'll like jump the ball, and the infielder has some sort of hesitation or reaction. Then it's like,
Yeah.
Did she just freak out, or should she have just made the play? You know what I mean? Did she really obstruct or
Yeah, make the freaking play.
right? But the umpire sees that reaction sometimes, and it's they make a call. They put the hand out.
Yeah, I had that exact one in a game. Forget where we were. Runner on second, going to third. She kind of does the little ballerina jump over top. She's not impeding as the ball is going by her, but she sort of does that little hesitation, jump over, go, and the shortstop boots the ball.
Yeah,
and he called her on.
That's what I mean.
I'm like, no, she just needs to catch the ball.
Right.
Like, not sure why, just because she jumps over the ball, you want her not to be forced. There's runners on first and second with nobody out and a ground ball hit to the shortstop. She has to go.
Right. It's like, do you want her to stop in the path, in the baseline?
Hey,
because
go
if
ahead.
the ball's hit in front of her?
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
Stop.
Here we go. Catch it. And then, you tag me and throw to first base for double play. No, that's not the way it works.
No, but the runner does have a responsibility. So, I mean, and you see this all the time. If there is a hot shot in front of me, I mean, a runner can and should stop. I mean, they can't interfere with the play.
But they can run through the ball, right? As long as the ball doesn't touch them.
Again, as long as the ball doesn't touch them, as long as they don't hinder, right? So depending on where that shortstop is, it sounds like what Kevin is referring to, the shortstop's playing back.
Yeah.
If that shortstop is coming forward into the line of play, the runner has to make a move, whether she's outside the base path or not, to allow that kid to make a play.
Different story, right? Yeah. That's more the one, like I said earlier, the one you see at second base where it's that medium hit ground ball and the girl's trying to break up two.
Right.
And there's this, oh my God, what are we doing? What are we doing? With this little dance between the runner and the second baseman.
Yeah, I'm thinking, as a base runner, I can beeline straight to second base. I'm going. You're going to field the ball a foot or two off the base path, but we're not crossing paths, right? I'm just jumping the ball in the timing. It may have messed up your timing.
Yeah.
Right? But I didn't interfere with you making the play.
Right.
But the timing and the runner crossing my face made me react in some sort of way.
Sure.
It's not the runner's fault. She's just playing hard.
Yeah.
But then the umpire,
I mean, in the NFL, they have face guarding, right, on the defensive defensive
no
backs,
contact.
but,
Yeah.
So same concept, right?
Yeah, it's a pretty good analogy. That makes sense.
So just be an athlete. My bottom line for me is be an athlete, make a play. The other thing that I try to teach that we want the base runners to do is that no hesitation, which I think you brought up before. If you have contact, continue on to the next base. I'm always, as a third base coach or first base coach or whatever, I'm going to throw my arm out as soon as I see the umpire's arm go out.
Right. And we're gonna see it. We're watching him. You don't need to.
Yeah.
Right. You keep playing.
You
hard.
just keep going hard. If you get thrown out, we'll deal with the consequences of that, and we'll sort it all out later.
Right.
Well, that's actually a good point, and that's another, I think, point of confusion with that rule. If you're rounding second towards third and the defender impedes obstruction, and you turn and go back to second base, you can no longer be awarded third base.
It's
correct?
over.
You have to continue to the next base and then hope.
Which
that
really
the
puts
obstruction
the
call-
athlete in a tough situation sometimes. I mean, that's a tough
when
read.
you know you're going to get thrown out.
Yeah, the instinct, right? The instinct. But yes, once you sort of make a commitment back to the bag, your opportunity to advance has disappeared. Yeah. Which, wow, that's sort of a great segue into the look back.
I was just thinking about the look back because, as I've said before, I have an 8-year-old daughter that plays 10U ball, and they dance all over the place around those bases, man. And people are yelling, "Look back!" Umpires yelling, "No!" And it's funny to see.
So who wants to take a stab at sort of you want to take not you?
Nope. I am not your rule book guy. I'll take a stab.
Go ahead, take a stab, and we'll have a discussion.
All right, I have rounded the bag or taken my secondary, right? And the pitcher's in the circle. I can no longer jockey towards second base. I have to return to the base.
Well, point of clarification: you can, if once you commit to a particular direction, you just have to go in that direction.
Right, but
So
if
you've rounded first, single to left field.
Yeah.
You've rounded first, and you've kind of frozen right there. And as the ball gets back in the circle, you have to just go. You have to commit once. Right. Once you commit, that's where you have to go.
You can't start and stop.
Can't start and stop. Right? Once you commit to back, you can't then just say, "Oh, screw it, I'm going to go to second."
Right.
So that all of the screaming, she's in the circle, she's in the circle, doesn't necessarily come into play. Is she can be in the circle as long as you sort of didn't break stride or didn't commit back to the bag.
Correct. If you didn't break stride and you just kept going and the ball's there, as long as you just kept right on rolling, the ball's in play. The play is not dead. Like, there's no time called. The play is not dead. Yeah. So it's about commitment. It's about the commitment of your body in a particular direction.
Can you give
I'm wrong.
the intent of that rule? Like that rule seems a little weird. What was the intent?
I don't know. I mean, could be.
I mean, I think it's no different in baseball that when, once you're on the rubber, right? Except here you're sort of inside the circle. A girl sort of dances around the rubber.
Elite athlete at 10U getting in between the bases and getting herself in a rundown all the time and getting herself around the bases.
Oh, doesn't that just? Can we do a little sidebar on that?
Which one?
The teams that at 10U take advantage of just the fact that it's 10U.
Yeah.
Why are we doing this? Yeah. Why are we teaching them things to game the system just to win or advance or score a run when I tell 10U and 12U and even 14U coaches all the time, I said, hey, you want to get to the next level, you're going to get thrown out.
You're right.
Well, here's the
problem, right? We have an hour and 15 minutes to play. The base runner goes halfway to the next base. Then the catcher catches the ball. She's pump faking. She's running the runner back. She's running halfway to second base from the catcher.
With the gear that doesn't fit, and she's like...
And we're doing this every pitch. And now we're not getting anywhere.
You see it all the time. We're getting a little bit off the look back thing, but you see it all the time with the runner on third. They take the massive, gigantic lead and try to bait the throw down so they could take off. Can't stand that.
And then the catcher runs him down, and every pitch takes 2 minutes.
Right. Can't stand that. Like, teach the kids how to play the game properly at 10U so that they're ready to compete when they get to be 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
It's not important, Kevin. We need the win at the Mama Don't Mind tournament.
Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Yeah. All right. So on the look back. Now, along with the look back, though, this whole notion of the ball being in the circle, what about the pitcher that takes a step outside the circle after they get the return throw from the catcher? Do you know what can happen there?
Look back is off?
It's off. Take off, man.
Yeah.
Take off. She has 1 full foot outside the circle. She is a defender. She is no longer the pitcher, so to speak. She's a defender. Teach those kids that if once those middle infielders have vacated the base and she gets that ball back from the catcher, turns, goes to step outside, pick up her rosin bag, boom.
Yeah.
You're off. Be ready. Be ready to run. Go back to the bag, stalk it, look like you're ready to go. You want to teach a kid how to take advantage on the bases, do it that way, not the little cat and mouse game stuff. Right? So yeah, look back is big.
And you don't see it at the older ages, right? I mean, you don't even hear them talk about look back at the older ages, but at 10U, it's rampant.
And again, teach the kids the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Now,
I can't remember the last time I've heard someone in a high school game or a travel game with the older girls reference look back.
No. The only, it would be a situation where it was by accident.
Right.
Right. It was unintentional on the runner's perspective and they got caught.
Yeah.
They get called for leaving early.
Yeah. And when you walk with the runner on third and they kind of just motor their way all the way around to second base. Yeah.
Yeah. Again, game in the system.
Right.
You do that in high school or college, you're going to get thrown out.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. Yeah. Thanks. Here, kitty. Here we go. We're going to get you out. Okay. So, but the one thing we do see a lot in college, though, is this illegal pitches.
Oh, yeah.
So what constitutes an illegal pitch? Right? We've got, we saw it last year in the World Series.
Well, I think the rules are pretty black and white for the illegal pitch, right? It's just they don't call it.
or they're calling it a lot. It's either
Or they're
one way
calling
or
it a lot.
another.
Or the one that drives you crazy is when you've played 4 innings and your pitcher's been throwing the same the entire game, and then he just happens to call a illegal pitch in the 4th inning with an out.
Right.
And you're like, what the hell are we doing here?
Yeah, right. She's already thrown 97
Yeah,
pitches,
yeah.
and now you've decided to call it.
Right.
Right. Yeah. So what are some of the ways that we're seeing the illegal pitches come to pass? Right. What are some of the mechanics that?
Oh, the crow hop, obviously.
Right. The disconnecting from the ground. That's a huge one. The double tapping on separating and
That's the one I
reconnecting.
see the most out there is the pitchers not taking their paws and getting their hands together, or the I just lost my train of thought. I had one more.
Yeah, there's we see that one a lot where they're either they're hopping and disconnecting from the ground and replanting, right?
Or
the whole
stepping
replanting.
out of the chute. That's the one I was going to say.
Yeah, you get
we
the
had a
kid with
pitcher.
the huge screwball, right?
Yeah.
That just and she kind of rolls out of the
Which they don't
lane.
even line that
Not in
for
high
the
school.
most part in high school or the travel
Well,
tournaments.
and even when it's lined in college, you see it step out
kick it
all
right
the
out.
time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Doesn't matter.
Well, the first thing a good pitcher would do is just go in there and scrape it out. Right?
Same with
just
the
like
great leadoff
just
hitter,
like
right? I mean, I
batting.
remember in college, our leadoff hitter, the first thing he would do before he saw a pitch was kick out the front line of the batter's box.
Yeah, if you're a slapper,
Yeah.
and you're a
That thing
leadoff
is
kid,
gone.
you better get rid of that
Yeah.
line, right? So we're seeing that kind of stuff a lot as we enter into the college postseason. Keep an eye on it because I know it was a huge point of contention. Boy, I was down at the regionals last year between Kentucky and Virginia Tech, and boy, they were all over. They were all over it. They seemed to be calling illegal pitches every game, every pitch.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy. So
Can we touch on chalk real fast?
Sure.
The boxes. Can I get a vote on the room on paint versus chalk? Because my school is pro paint and I'm a chalk guy because and my field maintenance guy is an awesome guy, so I'm not dumping on him. But oftentimes I think we get a new can and the left field line looks crisp, and by the time we get through the right field line, it's a little faded.
well,
You guys use
You
chalk?
need a second can.
I was going to say
I know
buy
that,
another
but it
case
still
of
looks
paint.
Terrible, but I'm not doing it. But I'm still a chalk guy. What do you go with?
I'm a paint guy.
You use paint?
You use paint.
What
Now-
about you, Matt?
I don't care.
You don't care.
But here, you want to know the trick to the paint?
What's that?
Water the dirt before you paint, and then water again after you paint.
Oh, you learn something every day. Except I'm not the painter, but I'll mention that to Ibrahim.
Are you painting your field, Kevin?
No, but I'm watering the field. I was there at 7:00 yesterday morning watering it, and then again at 3:00 in the afternoon watering it again.
Man,
Nice.
Yeah, yeah, we got that. But yeah, it's yeah. Let's see, couple.
Do you have the cuckoo?
No, but I have that.
womp, womp.
Sounds probably like half this episode. What else?
Is that what you sound like when you're talking to your team?
That's probably what they hear. Yeah. Here, this will be this. We hope this not to be what we're going to face for Friday.
Who's pitching?
It is not
Abby
Mission
Lane?
Impossible. What's that?
Who are you seeing? Abby Lane?
Yeah. We're going to see Abby for the third time.
Yeah.
So,
That music might play a little bit.
yeah, probably. But we're excited to get back at it. But so yeah, weird sort of rules, right? You got look back, you got illegal pitches, obstruction interference, DP flex. I mean, this stuff is just not what obstruction interference, obviously in baseball, but this other stuff we're not really seeing.
But you don't even see obstruction interference that much in baseball. And well, I guess with the illegal pitches, I saw. Well, it's not so much
it's a
illegal
balk.
pitch. It's balk, and then it's using a foreign substance or something. I saw the Yankees guy last night got in trouble.
10-game suspension.
Is that what they gave him?
Yeah,
Oh, man.
that's automatic.
Team full of cheaters.
Easy.
But they don't have these full discussions like in baseball. Like in softball, it feels like we're always having the obstruction interference conversation. We're always having some of these rules conversations. But baseball,
Yeah, it doesn't have. I mean,
doesn't seem like it.
I don't know. I watch our baseball team. I don't know that they've had one balk called on them all
Right.
season long, but yet seems like illegal pitches or something crazy is happening every other game.
I actually did see our coach get ejected arguing a balk this year believe it or not. But
Okay.
it was a rule change and a difference of opinion on the rule change.
Yeah,
Not a traditional balk.
But again, so what? Like, he didn't come set, he didn't pause, or, those things are tried and true. They've been around in the game forever. And again, don't forget the difference between on the balk and the illegal pitch. The balk is designed to protect the base runner.
Right. You have a pickoff, right? You can pick the first.
Right. So you have, because they have a lead, we don't have a lead in softball. So we don't have some of that other stuff. And that's why these illegal pitches and are really designed to protect the batter, whereas in baseball, the balk rules and those are designed to protect the base runner.
Yeah. Leaving early really pisses me off sometimes too.
Yeah, because they're never looking.
They're never looking, and all of a sudden, in the middle of the game, you get a leaving early call. It's like, you didn't see that.
Yeah, this runner's been on base 3 times.
Stole 4 bases today.
And now all of a sudden you're deciding to call her for leaving early.
Because she has 3 stolen bases early.
Right, and you got the parents on the from the other team that are, she left early.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. So, I don't know. It's all crazy. But yeah, rules are, they're designed, obviously, to keep the game safe, moving, and with some sense of clarity. However, it's pretty murky.
But I get the mission, right? Because our game is fast, and softball that's what makes it great, is it's fast, and these rules are all designed to keep it moving and keep the game being played. And that's why baseball, at least for me this year, has been more enjoyable to watch, because they've sort of morphed it closer to what softball looks like time-wise and pitch to pitch, So I think it's been more enjoyable because it's a faster pace.
Well, I do think the pitch clock in Fastpitch is coming.
It's coming.
And it should. I mean, I see it now, even just watching the college games. I saw a girl the other day, just some ESPN Plus. She would step out of the box, walk all the way back to the dugout after every single
In a college
pitch.
game?
In a college game, yeah. And then turn around and it was like her thing to, I don't know, it was some
Yeah.
gamesmanship or whatever it was. But it was obnoxious to watch. I mean,
Well,
the pitch clock is...
in baseball, all that stuff's going to trickle down from Major League Baseball.
Sure.
So in softball, that's going to have to be implemented by the NCAA.
Yeah.
Well, we love ourselves some Kat Sandercock here at SF3, right? We love her. She's obviously part of our family here, but she takes forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? She takes forever. And some of it's I'm not a big wristband guy. I know a lot of teams are going to the wristband, but you got to get the number off the wristband. You got to look at the wristband, then you got to step onto the rubber to simulate taking the sign from the catcher. Then you do your normal thing where she's looking behind the glove, she's spinning the ball and all that other kind of stuff. Then the pitch gets delivered.
Yeah.
That takes time.
Yeah. When I initially didn't like the idea of it because I thought it took some of the gamesmanship out of it, but now that you're seeing it in motion, it definitely makes it more enjoyable to watch.
I love it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I'm a baseball purist kind of guy. The game could be 4 hours long. It wouldn't bother me.
I'm the same way.
Wouldn't bother
But
me
I
in the
think you
least.
guys are the minority. I think
Yeah,
you
I mean,
guys
if they're
are
trying to-
baseball historians, you love the game. I love the game, but I don't want to sit there for 3.5 hours.
Yeah, I mean, if they're trying to attract more viewership,
Right.
then clearly speeding the game up is a good thing. Now, I can't stand the throw over twice rule. I think that's ridiculous.
Well, that changes your strategy, and it changes
Terrible.
a lot of things. If I know you're not throwing over because you threw over twice, it's crazy.
I'm off.
Yeah, that changes the stolen bases. That changes a lot of
Well,
things.
we've seen stolen bases go up, but so I don't know. That's so. I guess they have some quirky rules over there too. But this just the rules that we talked about here are designed to create more flexibility, create more stability in the game. Remove some advantages for one side versus the other, but each one that we talked about still requires subjectivity. And I think that's the thing that we all struggle with the most is we're leaving it up to an umpire or someone to make a judgment call, whether that was an illegal pitch, whether that was a leaving early or not leaving early. In the new pitch clock, it is what it is. It gets to 0, ball 1. There's no interpretation to that. It just is what it is. You throw over twice, you go, and you don't pick them off, awarded second base. It's very cut and dry. The things we're talking about today are very subjective and leaving it in the hands of that 1 or 2 or 3 people. Thank you, VHSL, though, for 3 umpires during the postseason. That's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, that's awesome.
We actually like that as long as they're competent. We like that. So, that's the challenge here. And if coaches don't know the rules, players don't know the rules, umpires are iffy on the rules, then why do we even try to enforce them? What's the point? And then it just makes the subjectivity even worse, because now we're saying you don't even know what you're talking about, yet you're trying to enforce this rule.
Right. That's the frustration of it a majority of the time.
So
And I don't understand it, and then the umpire doesn't understand it, and it's all going to hell.
So anyway, that's any final thoughts on the rules?
Was there anything that is implemented now that you hate?
Yeah, I hate, again, we have in high school, at least, we have this, thankfully it hasn't been an issue. We have this sort of 1 minute in between innings.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Yeah, it hasn't really been enforced in any of my games this year.
No.
I hear an umpire saying, let's go, but nobody been like, oh, you're at 50 seconds. You better, hurry up.
I just, they don't do that. I mean, I get speeding up the game, but again, they don't do that in college. They're huddling, the teams are huddling on before they come out on the field and all that kind of stuff. I get we're trying to reduce that kind of stuff, but where are we going? The game is not that long as it is in high school, at least.
No, I've never had a problem with the length of a softball game.
So don't shoo me up and hustle me up just because you need to get going. And that's sort of maybe where I get rubbed the most on it, is that I feel like the umpires, it's not the intent of speeding up the game. It's the intent of, I want to get the hell out of here.
Yeah. Huh?
Right.
You would hope that
hopefully that doesn't get me in
case.
trouble with our colleagues at Umpire Association. But, that's the one that probably bothers me the most. Now, for me, the way that I get around that, here's the typical scenario there. The catcher gets stranded at second base at the end of an inning, right? That's pretty much where it happens. So, we're teaching the catchers, obviously, get your gear on as quickly as possible. But what I do, just to make it look like, we're kind of, I'll go catch the first pitch, and I'll walk her helmet. I'll walk her helmet, mask, and glove out there while she's putting the shins on, so it makes it look like we're hustling it up.
Yeah, you're getting there.
Right. But it's that kind of bothers me a little bit when we, because then it's an umpire just starting to get indignant a little bit, and that bothers me.
Yeah.
Sorry. We might have to cut that.
Cut that.
Cut that. All right. So any final thoughts as we wrap up here? Any final thoughts, Coach? Good luck this week, next week.
I appreciate it. My final thoughts are I have a lot to learn, especially on the DP flex, but I don't think I'm alone, right? I think there's a lot of people out there that struggle with that aspect of the rule book, but, we're all trying to be better. So I'll try to learn it and be better the next time we hit the field.
Yeah. Mr. Cook, anything left to add?
Good topic. Appreciate the expertise.
I don't know about that. I bet you after this one posts, we'll get a bunch of comments saying, no, everybody was wrong. You're all wrong.
Well, comments mean viewers and listeners, right?
Right, so, we'll take it.
Can we get an ODAC update? What's going on? What's the schedule for the ODAC this weekend?
ODAC is done. So
ODAC's done. We're in regionals?
Yep, regionals.
Who won the tournament?
Randolph-Macon beat Roanoke.
Randolph-Macon was the 3 and Roanoke was the 2?
They were the 2.
Okay. Roanoke was the 1. So Roanoke finished with the best record in the ODAC, and actually swept Randolph-Macon during the season, but got us back. Took 2 from us Thursday night, Friday, something like that last week. But they got a bid, Roanoke did, and they play in, I don't know what the region is, but CNU is hosting it. Yeah. That game is actually at 2 o'clock today.
That's the Atlantic region, I believe.
They play some team I've never heard of. You looked at it the other day, Kevin. I don't know what it was called, but it looks like a similar team as Roanoke. So they play at 2 o'clock today. It's a double elimination through Saturday.
And Wesleyan got the at-large too, so the ODAC has 3 teams in.
ODAC has 3.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We should do a whole just episode on how great Division III softball is in the Commonwealth of Virginia.
I like that.
I mean, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I actually had this discussion with my travel team on a practice over the weekend when we were discussing, schools and potential places that these girls might want to visit, and how lucky they are at the level of Division III softball in the state of Virginia, that you got 2 national powers, right down the road, and then a bunch of other really great programs too. So I mean, it's wild.
It's great softball, really fun to watch. What Keith and Brandon and Kevin are doing.
I was going to say, we are lucky enough to have some personal relationships with the coaches, and what a great group of guys, what a great group they have. And those kids are lucky to have such talented coaches. Yeah. For sure. But their records speak for themselves.
Yeah,
right?
we should just do like a roundtable after the postseason with them and get a whole bunch of people on.
Coach
awesome.
Mitchell picked up the ODAC
Coach of the Year. I saw
Awesome.
that. Yeah. So really cool stuff. I mean, it's just great human beings. I think their hearts are all doing it for the right reasons, and they show it and they care. And the records, as you say, sort of speak for themselves. So it's really cool stuff.
Maybe that'll be a topic for a future podcast.
Yeah.
Or maybe that speaks to the talent in the state of Virginia as well.
That's true too.
And all the big time players that 643 is pushing out the doors.
That's right. There you go.
Right.
As we sit here and look at the commit wall over there. So that's awesome. All right. So another episode wrapping up, and we really appreciate everything everybody's doing. Keep safe out there. No matter where you are, what you're doing today, live life like a 3-1 count. Go ahead and make it a great day, everybody.
Good luck in the postseason.
Thanks. Same. That sounds probably like half this episode.